So let's talk a bit about Brazil, right?
Yeah.
So the other day, I remember we had a brasileiro, a Brazilian, reach out, right? And just someone on our website, right, left a comment saying, hey, your de minimis is wrong, right? It's actually 50 USD, I think is what. So why would he say that? And what is going on in Brazil? And because our documentation is correct, but what's the confusion here? Why are Brazilians familiar with this? And what's been the change there with their laws?
Yeah, so it depends on the de minimis, on who it's coming from. Typically B2C shipments, there is no de minimis. They charge duty and tax on everything. But if it's coming in, if grandma's sending something in the post to grandson in Brazil, there is a $50 de minimis on that type of shipment.
Okay.
Well, what's been happening in Brazil over the years is there's been certain companies that sell a lot of low-value goods in a certain country that have been leveraging that and making their shipments look like it's coming from a person-to-person, coming through the postal channel, and they've been leveraging that de minimis.
C2C. Mm-hmm. They're pretending they're C2C. They've been leveraging the maybe this is why the person thought they had a $50 de minimis, right? They're leveraging that. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So what Brazil's rolled out, I mean, we'll touch on this one briefly, but it's a little more complex in a number of different ways. But it's optional to do this, so it's kind of like IOS in that regard. You can get registered for it, but the registration and the remittance is totally different. Instead of just having an online portal where you go and remit every month or every quarter like the other countries, you actually have to involve your logistics provider, your carrier in this, and you actually have to show contract that you're using an approved provider, and they're actually helping to facilitate the movement of that money. And it's done, the remittance and payment is actually done as the transactions are happening, not batching them up every month or quarter. And then the advantage of this is a couple of advantages: faster clearance, just like kind of all the other ones. That $50 de minimis is in play for the duty, which is on personal shipments, the duty is 60%. And so they have a standardized duty rate.
Simplified regime for anything under, it's what, 3,000 USD?
3,000 USD. And if it's a consumer buying it, it's a flat 60% duty. So massive
It's
savings.
a huge savings if you are under the 50 threshold.
$50. Yep. And then they standardize the tax rate too. They have varying tax rates across all their states / provinces. And it can usually vary between 17, 19, but they said you can use the 17%, which is the lowest rate for all of your shipments. So that's cool. You get to save a little bit on taxes as well. And by the way, they do some funky math on their taxes, which we won't really go into here. That 17% is probably closer to 20% for the way everyone else applies a tax, but not to dive into all the nuances of the way they do that. But that's... So there's a lot of hoops to go through. The registration process is cumbersome and takes a while. But if you're a big retailer, it can make a lot of sense.